individual games, they're 3-3.
Right, and I mean, you were talking earlier before the show started, Sweet J too, that these guys are really even in kind of mechanics and synergy and things like that. And you were kind of alluding to that the draft might be one of the big difference makers here coming into
Yeah,
this.
draft's gonna play a big role here because Cyclone lost against Team Secret when Leon was in jungle and he played Celeste and Taka and he carried really well. So it's really going to depend on what they're going to get I'm the Doom on. Are they going to provide the Cruel again, which actually has not been as successful for them last week. So they're going to go ahead and ban the Petal here. It's interesting to see if they're going to, like I said, Team Secret might pick a first pick jungler for I'm the Doom because he's really strong on Kestrel. I think Cyclone will most likely take away the Kestrel from I'm the Doom because he has excelled really well on that. So let's see what Cyclone's going to decide to do here.
And so one thing that actually really stood out to me, I was looking at the hero win rates for both of these teams, and Ringo is actually one of the highest win rates for both of these lineups. So it's not a hero that we really associate with either Cyclone or Team Secret, but it's one that they have both found a lot of success with.
And I'm also hearing that Tricky is going to be the one playing today. So how does that change? Does that change anything going into the draft here, or do they, are they keeping the same game plan?
Hopefully they're keeping the same game plan. If you're Team Secret, you want to be able to keep that same level of synergy that we've seen with Leon and I'm the Doom. For anyone who is wondering why Tricky is their starter, one of the reasons is the fact that Leon does have some travel issues, may not be able to attend the Unified Championship, so this is very likely the lineup they will be traveling with, and so they want to have as much experience playing with this lineup as possible.
Yeah, and you can see here, Kestrel was picked for I'm the Doom, so I'm Doom is going to carry really hard in that. Glaive, Lance is a party within EU, and Finn is normally a ban, as you can see that came out here. So within second phase, normally it's Samuel, Vox, Glaive are kind of the second phase bans and or picks. I'm surprised Lyra, Fortress, and Lance have not been banned or picked at all. And the Cyclone's Taka ban is very, I think, good because they lost against Team Secret when they played Taka jungle. So Taka makes a lot of sense because they probably want to play, two squishy carries potentially that Taka can card counter, like Samuel. So Team Secret most likely might ban the, they're going to ban Celeste. That's such an interesting ban for second phase here.
Yeah, and I'm really surprised that they are going to leave the Lance up because Bastion is actually going to be playing for Cyclone today. And it just kind of goes, we mentioned that they have really a rotating door of their starting lineup. They have yet to use the same starting lineup for 2 consecutive weeks throughout all of Vainglory8. And so that's something that they really need to figure out. But Lance has always been a big priority for Bastion. They're going to go with the Samuel.
Yeah, so Samuel is going to be picked here, and I think Team Secret, they're going to pick in the, for example, they're probably going to go with the CP Kestrel in the jungle, so they're going to pick a laner that works well against Samuel and is good into Glaive. So potentially Gwen or like Vox is someone that Tricky plays a lot of. So I could see a Vox coming out here with a Lyra. So Lyra is picked, and I think that they're going to probably go with the weapon power laner because CP Kestrel makes a lot of sense. However, Glaive support potentially does really well against Kestrel if the Glaive can go in there and get really good afterburns, putting her out of position. So I think weapon carry wise, they will most likely either go with Ringo, Vox here, or potentially Gwen. Gwen would be meta, and Gwen would be a great pick here, I feel, for them.
Yeah, it could definitely work out really well. It pairs pretty well with the Kestrel, too. It's a lot of burst, a lot of poke and harass. I'm also actually being told that right before the draft, there was a quick little swap, so it's not going to be Bastion actually playing.
Okay.
But it's also still not Waldemar playing either. The lineup for Cyclone will be PT Lamb, Red Aption, and Radha. So still not using the same roster for 2 consecutive weeks, but it's we'll see what they want to add for their last pick. They've got a few seconds of bonus time still left for this decision.
Yeah, I think it's most likely going to be Ringo or Gwen here. Adagio. Okay, so they're going to weapon lane the Glaive, I'm assuming. And then jungle Samuel and support Adagio. So that's a very interesting combination. Lyra is going to be good into this competition because if she boards the right time, it can disable Glaive and prevent some initiations that basically Cyclone needs to put someone out of position, and Samuel and Adagio can then help with the CC.
Yeah, it's an interesting draft, to say the least, for our first game here in Europe.
Yeah, so with that being said, with the draft in mind and the players who are playing on each of these teams, we said that the draft is going to be really important in this match coming forward. How do you think the draft fared for both teams?
I really like Team Secret's draft. I'm the Doomed is amazing on CP Castro. He did so well, and he's won, I think, when it's given to him. So I think that Team Secret won this competition with Lara and Vox, with Tricky and Vox. They're going to put so much lane pressure in the early game that they're going to basically be able to snowball from there.
You said Team Secret?
Yeah, Team Secret.
Team Secret? How are you feeling?
I think Team Secret has a better draft as well, largely because when I look at the Cyclone draft, there's multiple different things that it feels like they're trying to do all at the same time. I'm just not entirely sure how well it's going to actually mesh on the fold. Samuel, we always talk about, is trying to like kite and move back away, whereas Glaive is all about hard engage, jumping in, getting someone out of position, and it's going to be really tough for them to capitalize on a really good afterburn with Samuel Adagio.
All right, guys, quick predictions. You say you like the draft of Secret. I mean, are you thinking they're going to take this game 1 then?
Yeah, Team Secret's going to take it because they're going to win the early game. If they do not win the early game and let Samuel scale up into the late game, then they have a potential to win. But CP Castro and Samuel is really a skill matchup, and I think I'm the Doom on CP Castro is going to take this away.
Yeah, back in split 1, Tricky was a question mark for Team Secret. If he can perform the way he started to towards the end of the split, I think Team Secret definitely have it.
All right, we'll see how it pans out. Game 1 coming up. Dowsy and Forecourt Jester have the call. We'll take you to them now.
Welcome, guys, to Europe. It's the last week of this first season, 2017. Team Secret versus Cyclone Forecourt, and a very European draft from Cyclone. We've got that Glaive in the lane, something very often seen in the Challenger Series for Europe.
And not really executing very well, I would say. Across the spread with a weapon, Glaive in lane, we've seen some good examples, but we've also seen it just really fall flat on its face. So while it might be a lot of confidence here for the Team Secret draft, the big thing is, can PT Lamb really kind of fight a little bit more against some of the odds that we've seen this week in the Challenger with these weapon glaives?
We know that PT Lamb is known for his jungling more than anything. He has played Roam captain here for Cyclone. In the past, Cyclone, a very peculiar team as far as roster is concerned for Forecourt, as you know, Tasty Bacon was alluding to, as they haven't had the most stable of rosters throughout the split. So I guess this Glaive pick makes sense for PT Lamb. It's something that he would be very comfortable playing as far as jungle heroes are concerned, and bringing it to the lane. As long as you get enough support, can definitely be fine. It's more these team fight dynamics that Tasty Bacon was worried about when it comes to how do Cyclone actually play out a team fight.
Well, with the right setup, Cyclone could absolutely do a lot of work here, but triple poke coming out of Team Secret here with the triple range, especially that CP Castro, it's going to be really hard to find their footing. And early on, I really wouldn't expect to see really too much out of both sides. If we can find a good afterburn, PT Lamb might be able to make it happen. Like afterburn into red action, gets that slow. Radha has the Drifting Dark, the Verdict of Malice. I mean, that stuff really just travels on for days and days. But it's going to be really hard, I think, just to find that really good engage here from Cyclone. And because of that, they're probably going to play defensive, and Team Secret are just going to siege. And so there will be eventually a breaking point, Dowsy, but I wouldn't expect to see it for a few minutes.
It's great to see Tricky back on the Halcyon fold as well. There was a lot of hype around the guy when the season began, and you know, a lot of people know him from solo queue, know him from the player that he's a talented laner, but here on the VG8, it felt like he let his nerves get the best of him, and then I'm the Doom subs in for the team, comes over from Denial, and it felt like the combination of Leon, we'll talk about in a sec, there's a fight going on, and Just been completely caught, just completely out of position there. We're gonna see Cyclone rotating up, but oh god, no, Red Ambition steps into an active camo, and he's gonna lose his life. Was just trying to get Vision down. And that's a kill going back over to Team Secret. Radha now in a little bit of trouble as he's in this corridor, and I'm the Doom. We know that he's a good Kestrel. He does not miss. Radha's going to have to run away.
Yeah, Radha had some really good shots there into Castro, but ultimately, like, she hit the boot, she hit the camo, was able to play around it, and even returned better than Radha was able to give out right there. So 1-1 by the end of it, like just a few hundred gold between them. Tricky's gonna head on home, looking for some items, and early on items. With this glaive, you might think, especially if, sorry, over in the North America side of things, you see a glaive, you think crystal utility. Here in Europe, it could definitely be lane, it could be more jungle weapon, but it's going to be a pretty solid weapon. Glaive, I wouldn't expect to see like a tension bow, wouldn't expect to see too much cooldown reduction on him, but like a Sora Blade into Breaking Point into something like an Atlas is something that we probably going to see more of here from PT Lamb.
Yeah, it's definitely got the components at the moment for that Sorrow Blade, and probably going to go towards Serpent's Mask or maybe a Poison Shiv and engage. Doesn't quite land there for Cyclone, but they do rotate Radha up into the lane. He's able to throw those Malice and Verdicts, do a lot of poke work to I'm the Doom. I'm the Doom wanting to throw things back. Won't be able to hit as many Glimmer shots as hoped. Now Cyclone just pushing this lane. It's a fairly decent sized lane into the turret. They could perhaps siege with it with the Samuel if they can find the angles for the Malice and Verdicts, but instead they're going to rotate down now, try and clear out vision. No camps to be taken though, so it's just the jungle shop in mind.
Actually, yeah, I totally forgot that there was a Lyra here, so that book is thinking more of a crippling. But there's the first Sora Blade there for PT Lamb. He starts that off, so we'll have to see which life steal he goes.
It's going to be Justman once more caught there by PT Lamb. He's making this glaive pick work very early on. Nice stuff from him. We do spot out I'm the Doom. This time no walking into active camo traps though for Red Ambition there. And now for Cyclone, they've got position in lane. Will they look to try and push Tricky out of it is the question. PT Lamb sets up. Oh, great afterburn. That's going to be him falling very quickly. And yeah, we doubted, I guess, the ability to play this glaive, but I feel like the one thing that was overlooked is this is PT Lamb's glaive, you know, and this guy does not mess around.
Oh, hey, if he can set the new standard, the new meta for it, then all the more power to him. The triple range didn't really get a lot of the siege done that I was perhaps expecting out of them. Like, between Tricky and Doom, if Doom finishes up, jungle rotation comes up lane, they push. Didn't really happen. So, already, you can see PT Lamb finding those engages. He's finding the opportunities to get these afterburns in, and that's really what the Cyclone need to set up here early. Because if they got behind too much, a glaive behind, especially against a triple range, a triple kite, can really be hard to deal with because you won't have the cooldowns with the afterburn to catch up nearly as often. But if they're the ones to take control, if they're the ones keeping Team Secret on the back foot, then that's a totally different kind of pace.
Absolutely. The early game right now is just being dictated by Cyclone. A lot of aggression, something that perhaps people kind of criticize EU for not being able to show. We are going to see this one-shot fly out, but Red Ambition, Aption able to take it in the face. Fortunately, PT Lamb also taking a bit of a beating from Justman's Lyra, trying to get a bit of revenge for some of these afterburns that he's been caught on in. They're just going to rotate out here, take away that healing camp. PT Lamb, though, doesn't want to cycle through that corridor. Has to get to the turret. Don't want to take too much poke. Fountains are available for both teams, so if a team fight did break out, everyone's ready for it. But it feels like Cyclone are just on the wrong end of this CP Kestrel. Finally, I'm the Doom's finding a bit of presence in the lane. It's what the desk talked about, is that this early game from Team Secret, in theory, should be stronger. It's really on I'm the Doom to be able to throw out those skill shots.
And he lands the skill shots and Cyclone can't engage. PT Lamb's down half, Red Aption there, he's down half. Radha, well, he's going to be doing a bit better. He's also the only real range damage component of this comp. But as long as Team Secret siege and poke and bring down people 75-50%, it makes it harder and harder as time goes on, as the siege lasts, to find a really good opportunity for an engage, simply because the blow-up potential, it's absolutely real. And a lot of this, again, came into line. I'm the Doom, he picked up the Shatterglass, came up to lane. Now we're getting Radha to kind of counter that Shatterglass. Tricky picked up the Sora Blade to counter out PT Lamb's Sora Blade. And there's that Shiv to come in there, the Poison Shiv for PT Lamb. So yeah, I would really expect to see, with first and second items now being done, PT Lamb to go into something like a little bit more of an Atlas, a little bit more of an Aegis. But Tricky, it's just like clockwork here. Mr. Dowsey, he himself is going to be bringing up that Shiv. So we have tools on both sides to counter healing on both sides.
Yeah, and from the side of Team Secret, there's a little bit more healing on the side of Cyclone, in the sense that the Drifting Dark from Radha and the Adagio plus the Poison Shiv, which provides some lifesteal as well. So in theory, could be a little bit more effective for Team Secret here. But it's very interesting, you know, the builds being mirrored. And it makes sense for Redheart. Triple squishy on Team Secret, starting that Shadow Glass on a Samuel you don't see very often. It's very situational, but in this circumstance makes a lot of sense. We'll have to see what he builds into next. Perhaps a Broken Myth to try and stack up the damage he's able to output. But right now, this siege potential from Team Secret seems to be working for them. PT Lem really needs to find and engage onto I'm the Doom if they're going to have any luck in a fight. Right now, just doing their best to clear the wave. And Team Secret not pushing up far enough to really allow for an engage. Malice and Verdict, though, do a lot of work. Oh, there's the afterburn, but Fountain comes out. Tricky trying to escape, and they've turned it right on the pace of PT Lamb. Tricky charging forward. One shot connects onto Radabishan, but he gets away. Radha also to get away as well. That is the issue. You do not engage correctly, then Team Secret can turn it on the face.
Both crystals that round did have their infusions as well. Radha and Doom actually bought at the same time.
Oh man, if
It's
only
not
they
quite.
were ready for that, they could have blown him up. But I guess I'm the Doom did not want to be close to the fight. That is turret going over to Team Secret here, Forecourt.
And yeah, a little bit of gold there as well. So kill, gold, no problem. This is looking all right here for Team Secret. You know, they gave up a few early kills, but they're not done yet. But unfortunately, they don't have the presence on the fold here to stop this turret. So yeah, blow for blow. That's kind of how this is all going down right now, Dazzy. 3 kills to 2, 1 turret for a turret, and item for item. It's just like everything's being mirrored pretty heavily here.
It's very common to see I'm the Doom build a double battery, double void battery type thing. He's kind of known for it on his Kestrel. What's unusual is to see it on Radha. Obviously, trying to match, I guess, the poke that comes out of the Kestrel with Malice and Verdict poke of his own. So attempting his best to mirror the items that I'm the Doom has in an attempt to do so. The only thing that's different is the fact that Abtion, I can never pronounce his name, has gone down a contraption route to counter the stealth that I'm the Doom can pull out, and Justman instead has gone down a Crucible. Looks like this gold miner should go over fairly uncontested here. Yeah, it does. Team Secret just able to find an opportunity to do so.
Woo!
PT Lamb, though, he's looking for an engage. He flies onto this Kestrel, but they can't push forward. We're going to have a burst of judgment, but it gets blocked up. Wait for it, goes out and silences all. PT Lamb, everyone's in trouble, and they're inside an active camo, but nothing comes out from I'm the Doom. One shot connects, and Radha gets blown up. That's going to be Cyclone once more on the disengage.
The timing of that second Shatter Glass from I'm the Doom almost didn't do them any favors, right? Everybody went shopping, and then it was seems Cyclone to kind of push forward, and if they had caught I'm the Doom, just would have really been a big power spike gone. But because he lived through it and he had the double glass, you just saw him cleave right through everything that Radha had left, and perhaps they didn't expect to hit that hard, right? Because Doom all of a sudden just hit so much more with that double Shatter Glass.
Yeah, no, and it's not as squishy, I guess, the lineup of Cyclone as the fact that you have PT Lamb, who, in theory, on this weapon-powered glaive should be building defenses, but at the moment his defensives are very weak. So double Shatterglass, it's very good into people who do not have defenses. It does so much damage, just rips right through, and Cyclone are going to have to be very careful if they want to try and push up and look for engage. They are cycling in, looking for this Kestrel. Does get spotted out for half a second with a flare. PT Lamb pushing, wants to find it, but they do not have Radha. He's got his second Shadow Glass as well. And it may seem silly that we're kind of playing Simon Says build Shadow Glass, but it does actually make sense. It's not that they are copying each other's builds, it's that their compositions have a lot of similar characteristics.
It's also just everything's up front, right? Nobody wants a long, prolonged team fight at this one.
Ooh, we're caught out. It's tricky, but is he caught out or is it PT Lamb? Everyone from Team Secret was there and Cyclone hadn't quite finished the rotate. PT Lamb taking a massive beating on these Glimmer shots, cannot afford to face tank those without the shielding. That's going to be Cyclone pushed back once more.
We don't really have any kind of dedicated tanks. We have nobody that's super durable, right? There's no Finn, there's no Lance, there's no Arden. Like, these are usually bigger kind of heroes that take a long time to kill, but none of that's here. No, everything is just going to be right there on the table, and from both sides, if we can get in that initiation, we have so much damage built up. There's no breaking points. There's no broken bits, right? This is all just right out the gate. So Afterburn into the double Shadow Glass, into red Abshin, something like that can easily blow up Tricky, can easily blow up Justman, can easily blow up I'm the Doom. But at the same time, it's exactly the same for Team Secret. If they find that engage, they find that silence, that active camo, right? They just blow somebody up. Both sides really just gunning to end fights real fast.
Team Secret, in theory, seem to have the advantage as to be able to initiate. It has to be PT Lamb going forward. Ooh, almost gets caught in that active camo, but has the presence of mind to disengage. They're sitting on a scout trap here, Cyclone. Now I'm going to start throwing out those Malice and Verdicts. If they connect, then they do a lot of damage. Radha just trying to find them. There's traps everywhere. Cyclone have to be so careful pushing up here without the vision. Here comes I'm the Doom, an aggressive trap, and PT Lamb stepping close, but he doesn't get caught. Just about escapes. Flares purchased by Rad Aption there, and they're gonna spot out the dangers that is that tri-bush. Currently just Team Secret looking to push back. Rad has landed some good damage, but that's gonna be one shot connecting onto Red. And once more, Cyclone are forced away, so Goldmine are gonna go to Team Secret.
And just a little bit better of a siege game, a little bit better of a poke game here
PT
from
Lamb.
Secret.
Are you sure you want this, PT Lamb? He does, but he doesn't find the still. He's going to try and escape, but Justman dives forward, and now Red's on the firing line. Crystal Sentry going to get involved. Team Secret will disengage. A risky play from PT Lamb. Thankfully for Cyclone, wasn't punished, but not rewarded either.
Well, he also, you really kind of feel like you got to make those decisions, right? You have to at least attempt at the steal. He has a lot of weapon power built up on top of that. And, well, third red item for PT Lamb on top of things. We are going to get that breaking point, so a little bit of stacking at least to come through. But Tricky at the same time, same thing. And both of them going into armor. Like, we got Aegis on both of these guys. They realize the importance that they need to start looking at some of these defenses if they want to stay into these fights, because there's such burst on both sides. So PT Lamb and Tricky just 100% mirrored in that weapon role.
And we haven't really talked about the importance of this match yet, really, forecourt. But for Cyclone, right now they can play for some seeding positions. They're currently in 5th in Europe, and they could make it all the way up to 4th, I think, realistically. One spot. If they win this matchup, right? Or if they get one victory in this matchup, then they may be able to force a tiebreaker against Fnatic if Fnatic doesn't. There is a Kraken ongoing, and Cyclone are wary of it. Gonna rotate up. There's many traps put down, but PT Lamb has avoided them. Have to be very careful. This Kraken at 2/3 HP, and Team Secret now lost control of it. Looks like Cyclone going to allow it to go back into its cave and regen its health. For Team Secret, they are currently in 2nd place forecourt. They are holding one of the European buys into day 2 of the Spring Live Championship. A very important position to hold. If they were to lose this series, though, then Fnatic, SK Gaming all have a chance to overtake them in points.
So, bottom line is that Secret don't really want to give up a lot of that positioning. Like, if they lose a game, fine, but if they lose the series, they're in a lot more trouble when it comes to holding on to that 2nd place.
Yeah, SK Gaming just 1 point behind in the standings. They do go up against G2 at the end of the day, so a very tough matchup for them. Fnatic against Rising Lotus be an interesting one as well later on. But at this moment, no, both these teams, this is a 6-kill game for Core. We're at 17.5 minutes and there's only been 6 kills. It feels like a lot more has happened, but it's almost the tension game. It's the Hitchcock element of this game. We know that there's bombs ticking under the table. Will PT Lamb step into them is the question. Red Aption, he does! He gets chunked down to half HP. And they just can't walk anywhere here, Cyclone. So many traps set up. I'm the Doom just landing these shots. PT Lamb wants the engage, but he's not sure his team can follow up if he finds it. And it looks like Cyclone once more going to be forced back away from Team Secret.
Not finding the better of the trades. The triple range versus really only the poke that Radha can supply, just going back and forth. There's tier 3 boots there for Justman as he picks up some cooldown reduction. We have an Atlas on both sides now, like 16-minute mark. Both sides pick up Atlas. It's a little strange for the defenses. But again, just so much burst has been prioritized here early on that it's and only 6 kills. Like, the game still very even. It's not really broken to an advantage of either side, but Tricky has finished up into his metal jacket. PT Lamb has the Atlas here for the side of Cyclone. Red Action perhaps going to be looking for another one here soon enough.
Takes that one shot, but he has built up some defensive now, so can kind of afford to face tank those. However, this is engaged coming out. Oblivion is blocked by Justman, but Cyclone takes so much damage from these glimmer shots, just cleaving through their health bars. Once more going to be forced to walk backwards. Justman healing himself up. It is going to be these Treants. One shot flies out, but doesn't quite connect with the side of Radha. Now Cyclone looking for the re-engage. Tricky. Malice and Verdicts to the face. Radha still does not have a broken myth. Feels like it's 100% necessary, but he's gone down this clockwork route to match I'm the Doom's poke once more. Now, see if Rad Aption gets caught. This Kraken going to be started up. The vision isn't quite there. Currently, it is this Kestrel hiding on out. I'm the Doom. Gonna get spotted up. Here comes Cyclone, looking to try and force Team Secret off this, and Team Secret are unlikely to hold on to it, I don't think. Sam does take that one shot. Red Option pushes forward. Burst of Judgment gonna go out, but it is blocked once more. Justman taking lots of damage. PT Lamb is on the back line, but Tricky's dealing with him, and Red Option's so low. It's gonna be the Kraken fought over, and it's won by Cyclone, but they're gonna lose PT Lamb in the process, and will they lose any more is the question. Red Option running for his life as Team Secret focus down this Adagio. Radha trying to provide the suppressive fire, but one shot comes forward. It doesn't actually find the kill. That was a resonance bounce. Stolen away from I'm the Doom. Tricky gets that one. And now this Kraken going to push down the lane for Cyclone. Should be able to find one turret, I believe. But wow, what a messy fight around the Kraken.
Secret might have gotten the more kills, but I think it's totally worth by stewing out that Kraken. Like PT Lamb, Red Action, moving forward, they were trying to zone control and largely didn't really get too much control done, but the last hit did go over, I think, over to PT Lamb right there. So picking up the Kraken, losing out 2 for 1, not really that bad because the turret is going to go down. That's some money here into the pockets of Cyclone, and they're still going to be behind a little bit in farm compared to Secret, but there's no big siege vehicle pushing down on top of them. They get to keep all of their turrets, and there's very little that is really going to result out of this. Like, Team Secret's not going to be able to push down a lane. There's no big objectives really anywhere. It's not like they have ace buff minions pushing, so not so bad. Like, Cyclone are really keeping this game on par.
Certainly are. I do wonder if the matching of the builds is working for Cyclone. Specifically Radha, Eve of Harvest, perhaps a great item for the Samuel to try and sustain for the fights. I think Broken Myth is very much necessary. You can see both I'm the Doom and Radha now itemizing towards it. Very peculiar game to say the least for Cord, and once more it's I'm the Doom setting up some traps here. It looks like Cyclone want to try and find this CP Kestrel. He's going to step into it. Oh god! They don't get blown up. They don't go for red option. Instead, trying to focus down PT Lamb. This siege potential from Team Secret. Oh, the afterburn doesn't quite land onto Tricky, knocks the minion away. But hey, right now, one shot flies out. Oh, whoa! Where's your HP, Redder? He's going to be forced to go back, and Team Secret, they're going to look for a siege. Looking for PT Lamb, going to try and chase him out. The afterburn used defensively, really huge for a weapon power. Glaive to be using those defensively means that you're slightly safer. Team Secret looking to push forward now. Cyclone may attempt an engage, but they have to go through these traps and look at PT Lamb so low.
Ooh.
One shot won't find its mark. This time, it does look like Cyclone are forced right back, but there's a fight coming out. Team Secret go in, do a lot of damage to Radha, and they get the turret and get out as well. Will Cyclone look to try and chase down, though? They've got this portal. Oh no, it's going to be PT Lamb in a trap. Oblivion flies out, and it doesn't quite connect. Good Crucible timings. Game of inches, this one here for Court, as Team Secret still putting so much pressure onto Cyclone.
Yeah, they are really starting to stack up more of that lane pressure, and it's just kind of the same old story there in the lane. Cyclone, unfortunately, just really can't go blow for blow with the triple range, that triple siege, the triple poke. You know, Team Secret do have that going for them, but when it comes down to it, again, just not really big advantages accrued from either side. Whoever picks up this next fight, whoever gets this next Kraken, right, we can start making inroads into the end game here, but nobody really willing to start it up at this point.
This Radha gets himself those Halcyon charges, bring up a spot in his inventory, and goes down the flare route, trying to spot out this DP Kestrel. I'm the Doom. We'll pop that scout trap that was placed by Radapchin. That one shot lands onto Radha, and he is down so low. Now, once more, Team Secret can push on forward. They do not have the threat of poke and range to deal with when this happens. Instead, what they're going to do is look to take this Crystal Sentry. Hasn't really been a focus this game too much for Core. I believe this is its first light being taken here by Team Secret, but they may just look for an engage. And oh no! Looks like PT Lam's in trouble. He takes that one to the face. He's going to be forced back to base, and Team Secret are going to rotate straight over to the Kraken.
Yeah, if you got the positioning, you know exactly where your opponents are. It's a good start to the Kraken right there. And yeah, they are putting down that active camo. Red option, just live. I'm wise to this, not happening. But unfortunately, they're not really doing much up against that Kraken now.
Yeah, there's nothing they can really do. Push forward these
more
active
stuns.
camos and pretends to lose their life. That's not something that Cyclone are wanting to do.
Oh.
Kraken unleashed here for Team Secret. As we say, so a 4th damage item for PT Lam sells his Atlas for a monocle. Wow, a ballsy play, but I guess they feel Tricky's not the threat. If they can just blow up I'm the Doom, they win the fight.
Well, it's also the fact, like, Red Option has this Atlas, PT Lamb has this Atlas. How often do you see them all over Tricky? Like, that pressure is just non-existent. They have these armor items, and they're not able to execute them on top of Tricky at all. So now they're just saying, all right, well, all we got to do is just kill them faster, right? That works. So we'll have to see if that gamble pays off.
Certainly, as the Kraken's going to push in onto the choke point turret. One shot does land onto Red Option. But look, this, it's Tricky charging forward onto the Samuel, and oh, Radha gets completely destroyed. Tricky, he's got so many breaking point stacks, and he's just kiting like a boss. Here's I'm the Doom on the backside. It's Tricky, dancing, weaving, looking for the triple. Can he find the damages? The question resonance bouncing. There's the second. The third gets taken. An ace for Team Secret, and the game should be theirs.
Yeah, with the over-the-wall Lyra, which nobody else took. Okay. And the Kraken already had half. I mean, that is going to be that Dowsy. And once again, just kind of the stigma of this lane glaive, especially up against triple range like that. Just so hard to find those engages.
Just amazing. As soon as we mentioned that Cyclone sell Atlas to try and blow someone up as quickly, Tricky all of a sudden finds Radha out of position and just puts pedal to the metal. He got all the way up, I believe, to 20 breaking point stacks. It was very close, at least, towards the end of that fight. And game one will be going to Team Secret here for Court. A very back and forth, a lot of trading going. It was a very tiptoey game. Eggshells not wanting to be broken, but the CP Kestrel definitely able to come out on top in the end. So let's throw it back to our desk to break down that game before heading to our second of this series.
All right, thank you very much, guys. There you have it. Team Secret is going to take game one here of our best of three. And initially, I know you guys were really chatting a lot about a lot of similar builds on both sides. You had both the laners and the jungle that were running the same builds. I mean, what was going on with that?
Yeah, literally up until the very last item for the junglers, it was the identical builds, for the laners was the slight difference, and it was just that 5th and final item. But the double Shatterglass on both Samuel and Kestrel, it makes sense on Kestrel because you have such absurd scaling numbers. But on the Samuel, it feels like it ended up with them lacking a lot of the utility that we see from a Samuel that goes into something like a Frostburn.
Yeah, and on top of that, I mean, double shot. I get why they're trying to do it. They're trying to burst down somebody with double shot. But Samuel has 115% CP ratio when he's in the Drifting Dark with the Mouse and Verdict. And you need Frostburn to help the glaive lock someone down. You need that constant slow, and Samuel with Frostburn excels because he can constantly apply slows when he's in his Drifting Dark and hitting out the Mass and Verdicts. On top of that, Broken Myth is also a lot better in Samuel and Eve because he's such a high sustain hero and he can get stacks and then really carry once he has Broken Myth stacks along with his Eve and Frostburn. So that was a very interesting build. It didn't work out, but it makes more sense on Kestrel because of our higher CP ratios.
We do have a replay for you, too. That last fight, the turning point of this match, was a very important one.
And you can see here Samuel just a little bit too far forward. I mentioned at the top of before the game happened, you know, this composition was weird because they kind of want to do multiple different things. They were looking for the hard engage, weren't able to find it.
And with that, after winning this
you can
fight,
see here that when Samuel is out of position, he basically gets locked down, and Tricky did a good job engaging there. And I felt like they needed Cyclone didn't make their composition work. They weren't able to engage with the glaive, get some slows, and then basically put some out of position and then secure a kill. And they just failed to do that every time.
But now, what do you think Cyclone needed to do in that match and do going into our next match here? Because we will be getting into the draft pretty shortly. You know, what do you think Cyclone needs to do?
I think Raha is not as comfortable on Samuel. This is the first time I've seen him play Samuel. His positioning, the way he's using his drifting dark, the decision making around that. His ultimates are okay, but I feel like he's much better with a melee CP jungler. Like his alpha is pretty solid, I feel. So I feel like they need to go back to what's been working for them and try to make it work.
Yeah, I'd like to see them have a team composition that just has a little bit more cohesion just on the surface level. Like I could see how they were trying to make it work with that one. It was all about that burst. That was why they went for that double shatter glass, trying to get someone out of position and then just blow them up. But there's better options. If that's your game plan, there's better choices to make than a Samuel if you're trying to just blow someone up right off the bat. And so I want to see for this next game a draft that sort of reflects that. If you're going to go for a playstyle, draft more focused on that playstyle.
Now, we also saw throughout much of that match, really up until that last fight, a lot of passive play from both sides. I mean, these guys were playing real slow, methodical, tactical. Would you like to see pace changes from either of these teams going into the next match? I mean, do you think we're going to see the same slow play? Would you like to see them turn it up?
I think Cyclone needs to make their composition work. Like we said in the draft, Glaive, Samuel isn't the best composition because Glaive's bursty, wants to go in. Samuel kind of wants to poke. They need to build properly to help support each other. So Samuel needed the Frostburn. So I think Cyclone needs to draft a comp that can dive in and go hard because I feel like that's what they want to do, but they're not able to do it because of the composition that they drafted.
Now, what do you think if you want them to go in hard? What do you try and draft then to do just that?
Yeah, like Raha and CP Alpha, when she lands her Prime Directive, has a range of 10 and then 12 when it's maxed. It slows for, over 50%. It's a great way to start the fight, and Alpha excels when she's able to be in a prolonged fight and get her broken mid stacks and also her core charge stacks as well.
I would also like to really see them try and prioritize a Lance. I feel like that, it's one of their most played heroes, and it works just with their play style so extremely well. They're going to go ahead and ban away the Kestrel. Not going to allow I'm the Doom to get his hands on that hero once more.
Yeah.
Glaive the answer from Secret.
I really like the Kestrel ban. That's what teams have done successfully to beat Team Secret, is taking away the Kestrel from I'm the Doom because he has excelled on it, as we've seen from last game. I like the Glaive ban as well. That's been a priority ban and pick. Lyra is pretty standard. The Samuel is very interesting from Team Secret to pick it right off the bat and ban Petal when you should be banning an assassin like Taka, Kashka, etc. That's really good against Samuel. So that's a very interesting pick and ban there. Vox makes sense because Tricky plays a lot of Vox. And like you said, Bacon, they're going to pick up this Lance here for Team Secret.
And so Team Secret taking that away from Cyclone. They've banned this Petal twice now. So obviously either they just really don't want to play against the Petal, or they're just worried about Cyclone picking up, which they really shouldn't be. Cyclone has played Petal probably more than any other team, but they don't have a winning record on it. So Gwen will be the selection from Cyclone. One thing I do want to remind everyone is we are actually playing on patch 2.3 still here in Vainglory8. 2.4 is what's live,
That's right.
but we have a tournament build for these players so that they don't have to adjust to the new patch quite so quickly.
That's right, 2.3. So just one last pick for Team Secret coming through. These teams have been breezing through the draft this time around, so not much bonus time used yet. Team Secret do have just about a minute to use if they need it.
I like the Taka grab there from Cyclone. For a while, we've been seeing when Samuel does come out, Taka is very frequently picked up against it to try and counter it out.
Yeah, like I said, it was interesting banning Petal when you have two assassins open, and Taka has been picked into Samuel. So now they need to pick something that will work to protect the Samuel. Potentially, I probably think since they have Lance, they'll go double range here and either pick Ringo up as a potential weapon power carry. But Ringo is going to get hard countered by Taka as well, so that's a very risky pick for them. So Blackfeather may make some sense. To try to basically Blackfeather Samuel is a strong composition. So actually going to Rona. So I knew they were gonna pick like a melee potentially here.
All right, well, this has been the SK special thus far this season, but we'll see if Team Secret are going to be able to make it work to the same level that Kavalifar has over on SK. It's an interesting adaptation to see. It's always fun to see when teams pick up what other teams have been doing.
Yeah, now how do you guys feel? We talked before about how just important the draft is in this series. Initial thoughts on the draft that we just saw?
Yeah, the Samuel's going to play a key role here. Again, it's going to come down to both the junglers. Samuel better get Frostburn because you have a melee carry, right? That hyper carry needs that slow to help stay onto Gwen.
Especially Arona.
Yeah.
Like,
Gwen
of all
is,
carries, Rona
Gwen
needs
is
the
super
most.
slippery. Taka is super slippery. So those extra Frostburn shots is going to help the Rona lock them down along with the Lance. So I think Cyclone has a better draft because Gwen, Taka, Lyra is such a meta kind of pick, and then the Taka counters the Samuel really hard. So I feel like if they play it correctly, they can blow up Samuel. But if they lose the early game, then Cyclone will not win.
We're just about to head into game here. You guys still feeling good about Secret here? You think Cyclone's going to bring it back?
I like the draft that Cyclone has much better. I feel like while it's very clear what Team Secret is trying to do, it's going to be very difficult for them to execute specifically against what Cyclone has. But that being said, I do still think that Team Secret just looks like a more confident team, and that might be enough for them to pull out the victory.
So, EJ, you think Cyclone's going to bring out game number 2
yeah,
here?
I like Cyclone's draft, so
Yeah.
I think they can pull it out.
All right, well, we will see. We're just about to head into it. Team Secret has taken game number 1 here. Some implications on the line in terms of points, and these guys moving into the Unified Live Championship. So they definitely would like to move into day 2, certainly. Let's head into game number 2 between Team Secret and Cyclone. Dowsey and Forecourt Jester have the call.
And it is Team Secret now looking to take this game, progress over to day 2's games tomorrow, Forecourt, and then look to try and secure their second place seed here in Europe. In fact, they do have a chance to secure first as well if they were able to overtake G2, who are 3 points ahead of them. So a lot of things on the line for Team Secret. Yes, top 2 is fine in Europe, so you get that bye at the Spring Live Championships. But actually, if SK take the game over G2, then Team Secret in a perfect position to actually just push up into first.
And that would be a very ideal situation for them. But also leading 1-0, they got to be feeling good here into this last week. Like, if you don't make it past quarters today, well, you're not playing tomorrow. You're not getting the points. And they got to be feeling just, absolutely floored that they're able to continue on and just do amazing as they have been. But that being said, Cyclone have quite the comp setup here for them this round. And this is a comp that we've actually seen quite a bit over the last 2-3 weeks here.
Yeah, certainly. The Taka as well as the Gwen have been coming out in full force here in 2.3, our final week of competitive play on 2.3 before we put this one to rest. The Taka, of course, a fantastic hero pick into the Samuel. Counters what Samuel wants to do very, very nicely if Radha can dance around the fight, apply those mortal wounds, and just be a menace. PT Lambs, obviously, on this Gwen, we've seen Tension Bow prioritized quite often for the early game power, and in the lane especially, should have a lot of presence over Tricky, especially with Red Option to provide poke on this Lyra. Often something underestimated is the amount of damage Lyra can do with her second missile, her passive ability. So Cyclone have a fantastic composition heading into game 2 here. They want to try and bounce back in this series.
Yeah, so the big thing that to look forward to again and again is that tension bow on the Gwen and the Taka combining, just murdering somebody straight out. It's been very effective, I gotta say, this last split. And, well, that's up to Secret to kind of defeat. They have some pretty decent front line between Justman and Tricky there.
Oh man, that buckshot didn't connect on time. The Doom and PG Lamb had no idea that the Samuel was lurking in the bush. He threw it out. That's the kind of buckshot you throw out just to double check if you're being ganked. And it was just off the edge of connecting onto the Samuel. So PG Lamb really didn't know that he was being ganked there. He obviously saw Justman flying forward, but then the Samuel pops out as well. And you think, I just buckshot that bush. Where'd he come from? First blood over to Team Secret. Nice little play by them to rotate up nice and quickly and put the pressure back onto PG Lamb.
It feels like they have a little bit more of a catch comp here from Secret, because you're going to have quite a bit in terms of you got Into the Fray to get Tricky to go, well, into the fray, but Justman can follow that up or even start things off with that Impale, the Githian Wall. He's going to have his combat roll to keep him just on par there with Tricky, and if they can kind of just be that front line, Doom's going to have a great game.
Oh, and this is another aggressive play. Huge Githian wall. Radhard just so poured out. And Team Secret finds another onto I'm the Doom. Looking for more as they head up into the lane. Justman has his abilities ready if someone oversteps. Of course, PG Lamb does have that skedaddle to dash out of the CC lock. But right now, just farming away. Team Secret, though, early aggression going their way. And a Frostburn picked up nice and early for I'm the Doom.
Yeah, very different kind of pacing that we saw in game number 1. It took us so long to find a lot of kills, but then it even just like panned out. But I'm the Doom picking up that Frostburn. Suijay was talking a little bit about how you need to be building it to support each other, and a Frostburn first on Samuel is definitely a little bit more common than the Shattered Glass, but also just really lends, again, the whole catch comp, the whole lockdown comp, right? If you can't run away from these guys, if you're going to get stopped up, if you're going to get stunned, if you're going to get slowed, like Team Secret have a good comp to just really make use of that.
Certainly, slowing down their opponents so that Tricky can stick on top of them definitely helps and goes towards their advantage. Team Secret. On the Doom, he is going to provide that utility as well as the damage with the Malice and Verdicts over time. A 2-0 advantage here for Team Secret at this 5-minute mark. It's a 1,000 gold deficit starting to grow. Tricky already with the Serpent's Mask in lane, going to provide so much sustain against the ranged poke that Cyclone have to offer.
Yeah, it goes very well with the red mist on top of it. But PT Lamb, no slouch at this Gwen either, has that tension bow ready, and the aftershock soon enough here from Radha, as that will be kind of like the big mark of the single target burst that these guys are going to be trying to execute here from Cyclone.
Yep, we are going to see the Tucker come up into lane, spotted out, but he dives straight on top of Tricky. Radha just laying down the hurt, dodges away from the Impale as well, just for the show points. But so much damage flying out of I'm the Doom. Radha wants to dive back in. They're going to try and blow him up, and oh god, where did he go? Do you see I'm the Doom, guys? I can't see him on the map anywhere. Completely destroyed, and that's without the aftershock on the Tucker. So I can't wait to see how quickly someone can be blown up with an aftershock.
I hear I'm the Doom's going to be filing a bug report that he died, and that's not supposed to happen. Please fix. But you know, until that gets resolved, he's going to have to live with it. So 2-1 for him. But that's the power of this comp from Cyclone. They have an extreme amount of single target bursts between the tension bow and between Radha just sticking to somebody there in the back. Yes, he didn't have that aftershock, but now he does, and that's going to play a little bit more havoc into the Team Secret lineup.
So single target burst versus single target lockdown. Very interesting dynamic we have in front of us for court. I'm very, very excited to see how a full-out team fight develops in the next minute or so, as the gold has actually just been equalized by Cyclone now. They're sharing a lot of ambient gold between PT Lamb and Radha, making sure that this Gwen stays nice and stacked up.
Yeah, and the stacks are, well, we'll have to see, really. 7 minutes, there's so many thoughts going through my head about this one, Dazzy, because if you just keep eliminating I'm the Doom, if you can get that stacks up, right, you just turn them on top of Tricky, or conversely, use Justman or Trick as that front line to keep getting, you know, breaking point stacks, broken myth stacks. Radha, very likely, like, 4th, 5th item, going to be looking into a broken myth, but if they start getting kills, he could accelerate that.
Sneaky peeky plays from PT Lamb, and I'm the Doom gets blown up by Radha. Usually, it's the jungler that hides up in that bush, but PT Lamb decided to have a go, and Radha showed himself in the lane. Team Secret got a little bit complacent with that one, and once more, I'm the Doom does get blown up. by these guys. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm interested. We sometimes see a breaking point on the Gwen. I'm not sure we will this game. That's a great catch though, coming out of Justman. Tricky trying to find the kill, but she's gonna get under the turret here. And now with Radha coming in, they're gonna try and turn this one on its head. Tricky gets deleted by this Taka. I'm the Doom rotates up, and that's gonna be a great catch by Radaption. Onto Radaption, sorry. But Radha just dancing around I'm the Doom, making sure he gets up. Oh, sleep, and that is I'm the Doom finding revenge. Finally, the
zap.
Oblivion well placed by I'm Doom.
Yeah, unfortunately, just we don't get to see that many breaking points these days. Crippling Shiv, Poison Shiv, whatever you guys want to call it. I always think of it as a crippling Shiv because it cripples your healing, but that's really kind of taken over. Like Tornado Triggers, we've even seen a little bit more common here as well. And you're right, Dowsy, I don't think we're actually going to see that. So nice kind of dream, but with the Sorrow Blade already now in place here from PT Lamb, from here, like we've actually seen crit builds, like get a Monaco, get that Tornado Trigger, or get a Shiv. I'm not entirely too sure we're going to see one from Gwen, but she's really just set up for a lot at this point in the game. Like they're starting to really rebuff Team Secret. They're really starting to take momentum, and if they just keep pushing and pushing, you could just easily go straight offensive from here.
There's going to be a Poison Shiv picked up for Team Secret. Going to look to try and cut down the healing that Radaption gets to dish out with this Lyra. Team Secret haven't quite been able to find as much catching ability since the early game. Seems like Cyclone's come online, and that's going to the men's cold payout just taken by Radha, whilst everyone's dancing in the lane for Team Secret. He is pretty low, but lots of poke going out onto Justman here by Radaption and PT Lamb. And Radha just sitting in the lurking area, the tri-bush. Tricky actually dives forward. Marcinbergs connect onto this Gwen. Justman going to rotate on up. Portal though from Radaption. He's caught the snare down. Radhard dives forward and the Oblivion misses. They're looking to re-engage, but Justman's taking so much damage. Fountain from both these teams. And looks like Team Secret have to force themselves backwards here in fear that they get caught. Cyclone winning position in the lane. Perhaps going to try and translate into a turret.
Yeah, well, without that help, then the Lyra on the other side to push up with the Gwen and Taka. That was a good move to fall back. Are they going to re-engage? I thought perhaps there was a chance, but with Samuel kind of on the other side of things, it would have been a nice 2v3 win, I think, from Cyclone there. So just give up that turret. All right, 3,000 gold. That's just the breaks here, Dowsy. Like this single target deletion kind of spec, and it looks like we're not out of the realm of breaking points yet as PT Lamb picks one up. It really has shown that they can eliminate Tricky, they can eliminate Doom. Haven't really taken on Justman yet, but the power is very real right now.
Certainly is, and we are going to see the breaking point. It was a question more than anything forecourt, as I think that it all depends on who you're playing against. There is a fairly beefy frontline in the form of Tricky and Justman, so breaking point seems to make sense in this game for PT Lamb. And if the Gwen can build up damage over time, then there can be a lot that finds out. Tricky going to be caught in this snare, looking to jump though forward onto PT Lamb, and PT Lamb gets blown up. Radha now trying to find the kill onto the Samuel, but he's forced to do some sneaky moves. Unfortunately, in a flare, Oblivion flies out. He blocks it up, dives backwards, looking for the kill onto I'm the Doom, and the mortal wounds tick over. Now he has to bypass Tricky somehow as Radaption gets involved, puts down the healing sigil, and it's going to be this Samuel Tucker running away through the portal. The great escape by Radha finds the return kill as well. That's going to be the Radha getting home to safety.
It felt like Radaption tried to put a portal on top of Tricky so that he portaled himself backwards, but hey, I mean that works just as well if he doesn't, and Radha instead takes the train home. So 4 and 4, a little bit more of life coming out of Tricky right there, out of Team Secret at the very least. It was I'm the Doom to pick up the kill, and I'm the Doom actually hitting on 4 and 3. He has all 4 kills of the team, and that's where a lot of this gold is concentrated.
And he's going in again now, looking for more. Radha puts the Immortal Wounds down onto Tricky, down very low, 1/3 of his HP left remaining. Gives Cyclone a lot of ability to charge forward. Tricky seems to be the threat for PT Lamb if he gets caught on up. Buckshot flies out. Cyclone will make their way towards the shop. Need to clear out this vision, but they don't quite find it in the bush. Players go out. Infusion's there. They're going to look to try and engage, but this is exactly where a Lance wants to fight, this tight corridor here. We see it so often, turn fights for a team, but doesn't look like they want to go for it. Team Secret, Broken Myth was on the line, and I'm the Doom going to go back, purchase that. Now, a lot of sustainable damage available for Team Secret.
And if Tricky can survive just longer and longer into these team fights, that's just such a huge boon for I'm the Doom, because he can just really hide behind Justman and Tricky. But if Tricky gets deleted, if Doom gets deleted, well...
Oh, wow.
got
They're
it
just going
chance.
straight on in here. Radha straight onto I'm the Doom, and he stood no chance. PT Lamb just dancing around the fight, will get trapped up, but he's just trying to get away from Tricky and allow Radha to do the damage. They're turning on top of him. He's looking for the kill. Will be traded back and forth, but now it is going to be Justman attempting the great escape from Radha, and he's just going to roll into a wall. Unfortunate, doesn't quite make it over, and ace goes the way of Cyclone at this 13.5-minute mark, and the gold mine are going to be taken.
Need to see a little bit more, I think, defensive plays out of Justman, like defensive Githian's defensive impales, because Doom just melting in these team fights, Stouzy. It's just so heartbreaking for Team Secret right now, because they have a really nice catch. The problem is they're just not catching anybody. The mobility and between PT Lamb and Radha is really just kind of dancing circles around them. Throw Lyra into things, and you really have these very hot spots that you can't trot in these team fights, and wow, Secret is just melting.
Absolutely melting. Great plays so far from Cyclone. The Broken Myth now on to Radha's. Looking for another fight here as they portal on forward, trap Tricky in this bright bulwark, and it's going to be on the Doom focus. Oh no, PT Lamb's going down. He gets destroyed before the fight even really begins. Cyclone commit too hard with that portal, but it looks like Radha might be able to find the kill. No, he's forced back. He's on top of, he's not actually. He's on top of his own scout trap. So
Yep.
not quite spotted out. Trying to get this healing, and he will find it, but can he escape is the question. Samuel coming in, looking for the kill. I'm the Doom. Can he find it? Oh, Crystal Sentry MVP will find the killing blow, and that was a massive error from Cyclone. Now Tricky taking this turret away. Slumbering Husk purchased as well for I'm the Doom to try and survive the initial onslaught. And Cyclone throwing away their little lead.
That's a really good purchase from I'm the Doom on that one. Slumbering Husk will go a long way to negate some of this burst, but only really going to negate it once in a fight. So like PT Lamb and Radha, if they get that big burst on top of them, that's the best use of that Slumbering Husk. But if they can try to bait it out a little bit and save cooldowns, well, they can play around it. It's up to them to really to execute that. But you saw the difference when we're up against a wall, right? Like when you're up against a really good cat. Like Justman found the Gwen, put him into the wall with that Githian, and then almost by the time that was over, PT Lamb was done. Like he just went straight down. It's such a big difference when you can get those quality stuns, those quality lockdowns for the team.
Justman's been playing fantastically for Team Secret. Been thoroughly impressed watching him play for Team Secret, and he's often the outlier, I think. A team that has I'm the Doom and Leon, often you look towards those two stars and think, right, these guys are carrying the team. But Justman, his ability to find engages, cycle plays, make sure that the lockdown is there, has been always prevalent. There was a lot of questions about Mowgli not starting for Team Secret, but I think as the season's gone by, we can see just what Justman offers. Now for Cyclone, they still have a gold lead. It is 4,000. We're not out of this one yet for Cyclone, but they have to be so careful. PT Lamb cannot afford to face tank Tricky's damage.
Okay, so a little bit more of a positioning here. 16.5 minutes in, 14 kills, definitely a little bit more of a bloodthirsty game, but it's like as soon as Justman engages, we're gonna go. As soon as Radha gets that extra Etsu off, like that's go time. Until then, nobody seems to really want to give it time of day.
There's lots of shielding. Oh, PT Lamb, this is what we were talking about. He's going to be the Oblivion flying out. Tricky, though, taking so much damage in the process. Great usage of the Bright Bulwark to prevent PT Lamb from being engaged on top of by either Justman or Tricky. Key factor of that play, really on Raduption. Justman going to push forward here. Tricky's very low, just clearing out the vision here. They catch Justman x Retsu on top of him, bunking down the damage. Cyclone have a massive health advantage for this next fight if they so please to take it. Looks like they aren't going to try and force the issue, and now the Treants have gone over. Tricky healing up. Justman has that life string, so he'll heal as well, but Kraken being started here for Court. It's a risky play by Cyclone.
Yeah, but they know that they have total vision control. They've been really pumping out the flares, putting down the traps. So, I mean, there's not really a big surprise from Secret. Like, they can't really catch him here.
Well, they are looking to try and find the kills here. Engage goes forward. Where's PT Lamb trying to get away from Tricky, but he cannot. Tricky finds the kill. And oh god, Radha's in so much trouble as well. The Lyra knocked up against the wall. Radaption going to 4. And Team Secret able to find the Engage that they so pleased. That's going to be the Kraken now started up. And Radha, I don't think, can even afford to look for the steal here. He's just going to have to take the gold from his backs and get ready for this siege.
A very curious turn of events. Like, Cyclone had the vision. They knew exactly what was happening. They knew exactly where the positioning was, but they still did not really account for Tricky just kind of getting into the back there. Like, Tricky really did put the irons there to PT Lamb, brought him down almost by himself, and Justman perhaps was a little bit more of a bait. Like, he went in, he went out, they said, okay, he's finally starting to retreat, he's down half, there's no way they can engage, but he could turn it around. It just felt like all the information was there from Cyclone, but they still took just a really bad positional engage like that.
Almost desperate. It felt for Core. Perhaps they're not realizing that they have a gold advantage, but also perhaps they're realizing that Radha's effectiveness in the last couple of team fights had not been there due to the massive amount of shielding and protection that Team Secret have built up, and PT Lamb's ability to survive in fights have just not quite been available. Radha does get caught out, going to turn his attention to this Kraken, start using that Storm Crown to burst it down, but this turret's almost gone, and oh gosh, Ace's High doesn't connect. Tricky is going to go and look for the kill onto PT Lamb. Can't quite find a Radaption, provides the shielding, the snare, but a good Giffian's Wall. Everyone on Cyclone are so low. They're just going to use that portal to try and finish off this turret here. Here comes a full health Cyclone though, looking for the engage. Tricky dives on, great Atlas, and that's going to be PT Lamb in so much trouble. Can he get away? No, he cannot. The kill goes the way of Tricky, and a huge turnaround as Cyclone look to try and survive. Perhaps Radha can do the work onto I'm the Doom. He does a double kill, should be a triple onto Justman as the Mortal Wounds ticks on over. Cyclone finally find the engage necessary, perhaps too deep from Tricky in that play. Kraken will be taken before these Vein Crystal turrets are destroyed.
It's just so much objective damage done right there from Team Secret. So yeah, they did get aced. It wasn't really the best fight that they could have ever taken, but they did an immense amount of work up against the turrets right there. And Radha, time to shine at the end of that one. Everybody's down low. He can rinse repeat with the burst. Really nice triple kill from him, finally coming back into it. Yeah, he kind of did fall flat in the last 2 team fights, but a nice cleanup for him is a lot of gold. Finishes off his defensive items, and well, we'll have to see where we go from here. But I'm the Doom, even opting to just keep with the shield. Doesn't even go for an Aegis yet, but he finishes out his core 3. So he has that Eva Harvest, he has that Broken Myth, and that Frostburn. Slumbering Husk has done him a lot of good, I would say. Like, how many times has I'm the Doom died since we kind of pointed out that he just keeps melting? Once. And that was in that last team fight right there.
Yeah, and so much gold has been put onto Radha, but it looks like Team Secret are just itemizing to try and deal with it. PT Lamb, he relies so heavily on Radaption to peel away this this Rona for him. You know, the Bright Bulwarks, you can see times when an engage is completely destroyed by a well-timed Bright Bulwark, but that ability has a long cooldown forecourt, and Tricky has been working it like a charm, threatening us with Justman to get on top of PT Lamb. Cyclone need to keep PT Lamb in a fight, or else they seem to just lose it so heavily.
Okay, there's the Githian, just keep Radha at bay.
Yeah, there's the Bright Bulwark as well. Good Ace's High, blocked up though by Tricky. Takes so much damage though in the process, and Cyclone now may look to engage. There it is, portal by Radaption, looking to try and get on top, but they can't chase down this Frostburn flying out. Puts Cyclone at bay. They're going to start up the Kraken though, and this time a little bit more safer of the play, but they need to take it quickly. They cannot afford another team fight with Tricky at full HP. Justman wanting to push aggressively, trying to find the vision. This Kraken very low, and this time Team Secret will let it go to Cyclone. What can Cyclone make of this Kraken is the big question.
It would have had to be a very heroic play from Justman if he was able to steal that one out. He probably would have died in the process, and ultimately that Kraken probably wouldn't have gotten too much for them. But now they have to deal with it pushing down on top of the secret side. Like, this is a really good opportunity for Cyclone with this Kraken to bait a fight outside of the fortifications here. If they can get the kill on top of I'm the Do, they can push 2, 3, 4 turrets, I feel.
But we will find out. You can see PT Lamb just hiding away, does not want to get engaged on to. This turret falls very quickly. The Kraken's still very healthy, and Cyclone have not taken any poke during this process either. Choke point turret now under fire as the Kraken works her magic. That's going to be X-Retsu onto the turret. Oblivion goes out, but everyone just dips away from it. Radhar's trapped a little bit. Aces High is going to connect, but oh god, Tricky once more in trouble. It's not Tricky, PT Lamb. Maybe now Radaption in trouble as he tries to save PT Lamb and he goes down for it. This Tucker onto the base, trying to do as much work as possible, looking for the first Vein Crystal turret. And he's going to find it. Now the Kraken onto the second, but oh, good predicted play comes out of Justman. Kraken should go down here. Radha, can he escape? Doesn't look likely as he's getting chased on down inside the red mist, and he will be cornered out. Radha trying his best, but the heroic play will not be rewarded. He's just buying time for Redaption to get away. Oh gosh, is he actually going to port?
No.
No way. Okay. Does get taken out in the end. Now we have a staggered death. A pretty long one as well. 30 seconds separate Radha and Redaption in these staggered deaths.
So even without getting a kill, they were able to still sweep 3 turrets. You saw how long Radha lived just tying up the resources there of Team Secret. Even though the Kraken was done, even though the minion wave had gone out, right? There's no counter push, right? There's nothing that is available for Team Secret to really go grab. So 30 seconds or so here dead for Radha. I think we're totally okay with this. Might lose out a Crystal Sentry, might lose out your jungle, but ultimately we are still in a better position, I feel, here for Cyclone to end the game, especially if a good fight comes out. You clean up that last turret, and a backdoor situation is absolutely possible.
One team fight separates both these teams from a victory, I feel, here for Court. We're coming to the closing statements of this game. Radha now back onto the Halcyon fold. Full build is pretty much everyone. The only people missing out are these captains, but we quite frequently see that they prioritize flares in their 6th slot rather than an item, so in theory they are full build as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, it really is like money is not much of an issue anymore. You might be ahead here from Cyclone, but really it's just everybody's kind of caught up. Everybody's 5 to 6 items. They're into their final forms. And something that Redaption did pick up before the last team fight was that No Wave Gauntlet. Didn't really seem to do them really too much work, but there's a lot to say. Like, if we do get that engage and a No Wave on top of Justman, you do have a little bit more of a bigger window to burst out I'm the Doom or Tricky, but it's so hard now because double defensives.
Gets spotted out. Good flares come out of Radaption. Yeah, you're right, Forecourt. I think that the issue in the previous fight for Radaption, or we'll talk about in a second, Gage comes out, PT Lamb looking to lay down the damage, Oblivion blocked up, Aces High as well, but here comes Tricky straight on in, and the portal will provide escape for PT Lamb. They've got the Gwen out, but here comes the Impale, Justman with the Giffian Wall, and Tricky looking to drive on top of them, but cannot. They've done it, Cyclone. They've managed to keep PT Lamb alive for now. Tricky dives back in. Oh, an Impale, but it's Tricky going down. I'm the Doom, trying to lay down the damage, but he's almost out of HP. He's got the Crystal Sentry on top of him, and PT Lamb cannot escape. It looks like Justman just providing a brick wall that no one can go through, and Justman will be able to escape as well. Nice play by Justman to keep I'm the Doom alive there, just providing the CC. And 1-for-1, no one likes that. They are no fun. Have to wait for these carries to respawn, I think.
Tricky and that Shiv, man, really doing a lot of work in these team fights. But that last red mist on top of it, like just on top of 2 to 3 people just consistently in that small little corridor, really did keep him going. But ultimately he does drop. Thankfully, though, he did take PT Lamb with him, and Kraken is up. Nobody really has an advantage to pick that up very quickly. So you can see Radha defending. So, you know, Team Secret's like, all right, he's not backdooring. There's not going to be any kind of big weird attempts on that. And as they just continue on with the cash, it's really just infusion money now.
Yeah, infusion money, pocket money for everyone. We're going to see a metal jacket for Tricky. Selling his Atlas for a metal jacket. Very peculiar, I guess. I'm not sure. Maybe he feels that he's not been able to land the slow consistently onto Peach Lamb, so just prioritizing more armor.
More armor can go a long way for your survivability, but that attack speed negation
Oh,
could really
That's
go.
why. The tension bow's been sold by PT Lamb. I completely overlooked it. It was ages ago. Completely overlooked it. Which is very common. Usually you do sell the tension bow for a second monocle, and it's exactly what PT Lamb has done. So with no armor shred on top of PT Lamb, then Tricky feels that if he has more armor, then he sustains more.
Yeah, there's no bone saw from PT Lamb. Double monocle.
Another engage going to fly out, but this time PT Lamb in a bit of trouble. Justman providing the hurt.
Oh.
Aces high flies out, doesn't connect, and they're all trying to get onto PT Lamb. Radhar on the back of the fight, and Justman taking a beating, but so is Redaption. There is the Oblivion blocked up with a Crucible, and that's going to be Justman going very low, taken out. The Sentry roots up 2 EU Sentries, and Tricky Doom going to try and equalize, try and find the damage onto these guys. Crystal Sentry does get involved, but they can't find the kill. The Sentry does go down. EU, man. The buffed up sentries, I think it is, and the treants. It looks like Cyclone wanting to charge forward. If they can find just a single kill here, then they can try and end the game. Is that where they're at, and they are going to charge forward, try and steal away this healing camp. Doesn't go over, though. I'm the Doom secures it. Throws out the Malice and Verdicts. 9 stacks on the Broken Myth definitely hurts. They're going to start the Kraken here, Cyclone. Will Team Secret even attempt a defense or a steal is the question. Doesn't look likely, as the Kraken is going to go down very low. I'm the Doom, pushing up into the Tri-Bush, may throw out a Malice and Verdict, try and find a steal. Drifting Dark goes out, but it does get secured by Cyclone, and now looking for the engage here. Xretsu onto this Rona, but PT Lamb did not follow. Cyclone will not follow up either. Oh man, this is a very, very intense game, but Cyclone with the Kraken! This might be the final push for them.
That was the timing. I really actually thought I'm the Doom stole that for a moment. Oh, man. Game of last hits, I'll tell you right there, Dowsy. But you're right. This is with a Kraken coming down, 1 turret between these guys, and a game number 3. This is all on Cyclone right now.
Absolutely. It is going to be the fight breaking out as PT Lamb gets rooted. But he is able to escape Tricky's damage, and they're trying to just turn it straight on in. Ace is high, blocked up by Justman. PT Lamb taking a beating from I'm the Doom. Bounted to keep him alive, and Radhar's just charging forward to meet the Kraken at the base. She's onto the turrets. It's half HP, and Radhar's just going to look to end it now as Tricky tries to hold PT Lamb back, but he's getting away. Radhar on the base with the Kraken. Oblivion will not connect, neither will the Impale. It's Radhar just doing the work as Tricky is forced to retreat, get taken down by this Gwen. The game, it goes to Cyclone, equalizing the series off of the back of this Kraken.
And that's GG. That's game 3 now going to be coming down the pipeline here, Mr. Dowsy. But 13-13 and a 30-minute game. Game number 1 hit almost 26-minute mark. Game number 2, 30-minute mark. You guys should get comfy in your seats, because I think game 3 could be a doozy.
Yeah, no, I think you're right there, and a very strong composition from Cyclone. It was met very hard, though, by Team Secret forecourt. They struggled to keep PT Lamb in the fights. Tricky was such a threat on this Rona. But in the end, one fight breaks out that gives Cyclone the advantage and able to push with that Kraken. It was an all-or-nothing play. Team Secret needed to win a fight decisively if they were going to defend it when they engaged. And unfortunately for them, they weren't quite able to find it forecourt. That's enough of us trying to break down this game because we got the perfect guys for the job. Over to you, Gexpert, to break down this game with Sweet J and Tasty Bacon.
Alrighty, thank you, Dowsy. Wow, that is Cyclone coming right back into it. We're all tied up at 1 here, and really long match as well. They went for the whole 9 yards. Guys, we were talking a lot about positioning while the game was going on. Kind of poor positioning even at times.
Yeah, there was moments throughout this game, especially early on. It definitely tightened up later, but early on, like, individuals being very far out of position, it happened multiple times, and it was like, we're going to take a look at some of them where you can see they jump right on to Doom. He's in the front line. Samuel should not be on the front when you have a Lance Rona. And that happened multiple times early on. It really got Cyclone kind of rolling in this game. They're able to just delete him very quickly without having that level of protection. And it went both ways, though. If you look at this next one, you know, we see the Taka goes extremely far deep, and that allows them to just say, okay, there's PT Lamb. He's an easy target now. Let's just jump on and kill him. And then the final portion of this, so again, throughout the early game, this was happening over and over. This was another one. Redemption goes so aggressive with the portals, and no one follows them. So then they just get right onto those carries, take them out. And that was like the trend of the early game. It looked like Team Secret were going to be able to really take this because of those positional errors coming out constantly.
Yeah, and on top of the positional errors, first off, Cyclone did a good job focusing Gwen's burst, Tensionable burst with Taka's burst. But Action Lyra was kind of lacking in terms of like his sigils. He would pop it too early, and he actually missed Fountain a lot of time. Like that last fight, he actually didn't Fountain because he overextended so much, and he Fountain when Gwen was like 5% health, and she was just one shot away from death. So the Fountain timing was a little lacking, and also he needs to understand like Imperial Sigil. It's better to let it sit because he had War Treads, Crucible, and Fountain, which is 1300 bonus health. That increases Lyra's bonus health per second by like 150, which gives her a total of like almost 300 heal per second. So you want that thing to sit there, heal up Gwen, and then give Gwen the burst to then just kite Rona. He would pop it way too soon. And I feel like with the Sigils defensively, you want to let it sit there and heal your carries. You want to use it and pop it offensively when you want to chase someone down. So...
Well, we actually have a replay as well of our last fight, the very last one that sealed the deal.
Yeah, this is a critical fight here. You can see that the Samuel's engaging hard here, and instead of focusing on the one carry Gwen, they decide to then one person splits to go after Taka instead of just securing a kill on Gwen and then following up on Taka. So they basically are kind of split here, and this is what leads to basically Taka being able to get to the turret and then finish the game with the Vein Crystal and Kraken. They just needed to commit and kill Gwen and then focus on Taka, kill Taka, and then finish the Kraken, and then that would have probably prevented the game from ending. But because they just split focus like that and just let the Kraken kind of walk towards their base free-nilly, it kind of resulted in, you know, that lost.
Yeah, the other really interesting part towards the end there was the difficulty that Team Secret had trying to lock down Cyclone. That was something we talked about in the draft. Like, they have a very clear identity in what they want to do, but would they actually be able to do it against that composition? They weren't. They lose the game as a result, and we're going into game number 3.
We are indeed. It's Team Secret back onto the A side. Team Secret won game 1. Cyclone coming back now. They win game 2, and now we're into the third and final one. What would you like to see from both of these teams, really, in the draft this time around?
Yeah, I think Team Secret is... okay, Petal is... I think maybe someone Cyclone plays Petal really well, so this looks like their counter...
Like, they haven't... Like, historically, they don't have a winning record with Petal.
Yeah.
They've played it 7 times. They've only won 3 times with it. Like, it's not... I'm not too sure why they're putting so much of an emphasis on this pick.
Yeah, it might be a counter pick against Cyclone because Cyclone has something good with Petal, maybe. I think Team Secret and Cyclone, one of them is going to try to secure Samuel and Lance here. Glaive is also a top priority, but I feel like Team Secret will probably take the Lyra or... Oh, wow, they're going to take Finn. Okay, so they're securing the Finn, changing their draft up a little bit. So Lyra, Lance, Glaive, and Samuel are all open. Cyclone's going to go ahead and take the Vox away from Tricky. And I feel like a good ban will probably be potentially an Assassin if they don't want to deal with an Assassin jumping on to the Vox. Or they may want to ban a carry. So Gwen is going to come out as a ban here. Let's see what Team Secret wants to ban. Potentially they may want to take away the Samuel or... Oh, they're going to ban Fortress. Okay, so these bans have completely been a little off meta here. So let's see. I think Team Secret wants to play Celeste, since that's why they picked Finn.
The Fortress ban would have been off meta if this was like Split 1. But Fortress has been banned so many times in Split 2. It's over 14 bans just in Split 2. The Finn is also an interesting pickup. Another one that just sort of like appeared in Split 2 out of nowhere, it feels. Because in Split 1, I mean, Finn he had a decent number of appearances, but over half of his appearances have now come in Split 2. So it's interesting to see these sort of differences all of a sudden with this is patch 2.3,
right?
And that was patch that, Split 2 has been exclusively on 2.3, and so Finn obviously Finn and Fortress both being a much higher priority here.
Yeah, and I think with Finn here, Samuel makes a lot of sense because Samuel and Finn is actually a very strong composition. So they're going to pick Sam, and then they'll probably run it out with Ringo potentially, or if they want to be a little risky, Baron would make a lot of sense. Or they could even go with like a melee hero to basically frontline for the Samuel, and Finn can give the fortified health that Samuel hitting from the back line would make sense as well. But most likely, oh, yep, they're going to pick that Baron. Baron, Samuel, and Finn is extremely strong late game, and that's really scary. So Cyclone needs to pick something early to shut this down. They definitely want to go with an assassin here because melee assassins like Blackfeather, Koshka, Taka is really good into Baron and Samuel. So I'm surprised Team Secret didn't take and ban those away. Like, or they can even go CP Glaive with Arden would also be really good along with a weapon carry Vox. So they need something that's going to get onto them. And yep, Taka is going to be picked here.
And we need to see Tricky step up here in a big way. He's played fairly well throughout the first 2 games, but the Baron pick was like the pick that started the drama back in Split 1 between Humanist and Tricky because he was very indecisive with this hero.
Yeah.
There were multiple occasions where like he would, think about going in, but sort of like rethink it, jump out of fights, and go too far, so he couldn't be involved anymore. So this is kind of like the culmination of the entire season now for Tricky. Has everything sort of come together for him.
So, Sweetjay, you were saying they're kind of Team Secret is going for the late game play, kind of with their composition. They're going to be good late game. Do you like that decision from them? Do you like that comp that they have coming out?
Like we said in the very beginning, it comes down to draft. If you want to play Baron, you need to ban the assassin, especially Taka. Taka is deadly against Baron. So I feel like Cyclone again won the draft, but Cyclone needs to execute their composition properly because last game they had a better draft, but they struggled. So I think Cyclone won draft here, so we'll see how it's going to play out.
And both of these teams in the first 2 games have gone fairly late game, so I feel like that heavily influenced Team Secret's decision in terms of what they decided to pick up and playing for that late game. But now you have to worry, is their composition going to be strong enough through the early to mid game to make it that far? If they do, I think Team Secret takes it.
Oh, we'll see. It is coming up very shortly here. Guys, predictions. Game 3, who's taking it? Bacon?
I think it does go late. The Cyclone's decision-making up until the late game is something that I always bring into question. And so I think this game does go late, and that's when Team Secret will take it. So I'm going to go Secret.
Secret?
I like Cyclone's draft. They need to execute level 6, Taka Power Spike, go all in, man, and use that Power Spike to win the game here. So I think Cyclone's going to take this away.
Well, it's been neck and neck so far. Some really long matches as well. I mean, these guys have been fighting tooth and nail at it back and forth. So they are heading into game rather shortly. And we'll see who comes out on top of it. It's been a mix of poor positioning at times, plus the slow play. We'll see maybe if that tempo changes up a little bit. I mean, you guys think that tempo might pick up a bit going into this last one, or?
It should. If Cyclone wants to win this game, they need to pick up the pace with the composition they have. It's a very strong early game composition, but they have yet to play an early game focused gameplay.
Yeah, and they need to avoid what they did last game. Like one fight, they got Rona down to almost killed her, and then Samuel put out the Oblivion, and they ran the opposite direction instead of diving through the Oblivion with the Crucible, right? So Cyclone needs to play really decisive.
Well, we'll see it. It's game number 3 coming up. Team Secret versus Cyclone. Let's see who takes it. Dowsy and Forecourt Jester down on the field with the call.
And a bit of fight breaking out between Radoption and Tricky. This is an important match Forecourt here for Team Secret specifically to secure second place or even first place here in Europe. They need to win this series or else they will not get a bye into the day 2 of the Spring Live Championship London next month. So really important for them, and Sweetjay said he likes Cyclone's composition. If they can execute well, then perhaps they have a chance to upset those dreams of Team Secret.
Well, you can see Red Option getting a lot of work done on top of Justman early on.
It needs to be careful here, because I'm the Doom is there as well. The Afterburn goes out, but Tricky gonna dive forward, look for the kill. Good Afterburn knocks him back, but there's the boots. Red Option will just run away. That's a lot of pressure. Just one out by Red Option, almost loses nothing in the process. And PTLM just sitting up in this lane, very happily farming up. Tricky does go back to get himself some items, the boots, and some more health pots. But yeah, this is the last time we are playing on 2.3 this week. Forecourt, this is the week we say goodbye to 2.3, over to 2.4 next week for the challenge battles. Baron, definitely very strong on 2.4, but he's also very strong on 2.3 as well. Team Secret, if they do make it to late game, have a lot of ability to just take fights and destroy.
We will remember 2.3 fondly for like a patch or two, and they'll just kind of fade into history. But this will be forever kind of the split, right? That we had the big rise of the Poison Shift, right? This big competitive season, not even just the split, right? It was again and again. It was the defeat of the doubles heal. It was the rise of things like the Gwen, the tension bow, the reworks of a little bit more how armor pierce work together. And we've seen quite a few comps out of this one, but the comp that Team Secret is going to be running here, the double ranged with Finn, it really does feel like this is going to be forcing Cyclone to try to make those plays earlier rather than later, because the longer they can keep Tricky from coming online that's what they really need to do. Once Tricky hits 3 items or so, that's going to be a problem here for Cyclone.
Yeah, and as soon as they've done sharing some of the ambient gold in the jungle, they all rotate as 3 Team Secret to make sure that Tricky is nice and safe and not at risk of being ganked, taken on down, pushing this lane in so that they can go back to their ambient hyper-carrying ways, get this Baron online as quick as possible. You know, there is one thing, Forecourt, I want to raise here. It's a personal issue more than anything, and actually I think it may cause Team Secret to lose this game. Justmen has gone for the rare Bone Crusher Finn skin. Why?
Womp womp.
It's like, come on! That's the worst of them all. Okay, personal grievance is gone.
You got a skin to
some
win.
high-level
Dazzy.
Vainglory analysis right there, everyone.
Yeah.
Just
Thanks.
providing the best, really. But yeah, no, it is an interesting choice. I just thought I would raise that for no reason.
Here is a little bit more of a tidbit though for Finn, as I don't think Red Aption's actually in danger going down, but he doesn't actually get the red treant or the ancient treant there either. Finn, like, because we saw these big shivs, we saw these double range, triple range, the CP Kestrels, like all that, right? Finn kind of got lost in the background of a lot of picks, but over these last, I want to say 2 weeks or so, Challenger Series specifically, we've seen such a rise on both sides of how Finn can really like just turtle a game into that late game, and then all of a sudden I'm the Doom is at 3 items, all of a sudden Tricky is at 3 items, and Justman is able to patch up a lot of the weaknesses of these squishies with fortified health, with that polite company. If he goes super tanky, it's going to be really hard to bring down Secret.
PT Lamb taking a lot of beating in this lane. Oh, that polite company pulls him back into trouble. That is going to be PT Lamb forced out. We'll have to go into the jungle, secure one of those healing treants. Team Secret putting so much pressure into the lane. Here comes Radha though, looking for an engage. Going to go straight onto Tricky here, just using his auto attacks, but a huge quibble, and everyone from Cyclone's forced to fall back. Red Aption dives forward, but that might be to his death. First blood goes to Tricky on this Baron, and the turret will go down as well.
And that felt actually like a lot of miscommunication from Cyclone, because Radha went on one, PT Lamb went on the other. You split your damage. You can't really do that against these guys. And once again, like Justmen on this Finn, those quibbles can be insane against double melee.
Certainly can, just especially when it's overdriven as well. The lockdown it'll provide can be so huge, and you say double melee, but it's a Vox as well. He's such a
Melee
short
and a
attack
half.
range that it's almost like 2.5 melees, really, isn't it? The new show coming to a network near you. But yeah, we'll have to see if Cyclone are winning in this game, if they've got Tiger Blood, because right now it doesn't seem like they've been able to really punish this Baron pick.
Tiger Blood. Oh, how many people will pick up on that? All right, Dazzy. Well played. I'll give you a nod on that one. You can already see a little bit of armor preference coming out here from Justman as well. So he goes from the Fountain. Now he's getting into that tier 2 armor. Once you get into that Atlas, like, again, especially PT Lamb being this close. Anchor, Atlas, that's a heck of a combo.
Another fight breaking out, and Red Aption taking so much of a poke. Cyclone split, and Team Secret not quite able to find their priority targets. PT Lamb pushes up a little bit too far, but Cyclone really have not been looking for engages here. It's been all of Team Secret. Radha dives in, just does a little bit of damage to Tricky, and then pieces on out. It's just a prank, bruh. And now it's going to be Tricky taking all of the gold as well. They've got a 2,000 gold lead already here, Team Secret. The turret first blood, and now starting up a gold miner.
Well, Red Option will scout it out, but if he gets this steal, I'm just going to give him a standing salute because he's not a damaged glaive.
He has been trying his best. Goes in, doesn't.
Quibble and deleted.
Not much to say about that.
Orbital strike, quibble, auto attacks, that just all came together very nicely.
There's a lot of damage coming out from those guys. You either die a hero forecourt, you live long enough to become the villain.
Dazzy,
That
the
scenario.
references today. Holy. Went from Charlie Sheen into Langley Lang into Batman.
Just doing it all, man. Just doing it
Yeah.
all.
Leveling up.
Oh,
Ooh.
Oblivion goes out. It's a nice block, though. They blocked up everything from these two ultimates, and now Cyclone looking to try and defend their turret, but Tricky's going aggressive. He's looking for the kill, and he's looking for the damage as well. Oh, so much going out. Tricky, 2 damage items, and another turret going to go their way. They're at 8 minutes, Team Secret, but Tricky has 1,300 gold in his pocket. They've just accelerated this Baron to the late game, and Cyclone are doing literally nothing to stop it.
90 last hits in 8 minutes. That's real good here for Tricky because I wouldn't say that he's like, fully built up yet, but 2 items are a little bit more than we can handle at this point. Like PT Lamb is looking for his second tier 3. He's diversified a little bit, but a Shiv could be down the line for him here as well. That's definitely my vote over a Serpent's Mask at this point here for PT Lamb. But Radha, not even into that Aftershock. Like he prioritized that Storm Crown. He wanted to go for the farming, get yourself a good base, but their base is crumbling right now, Dowsy. And Secret are really taking big power here early on.
Production gonna find out everyone now. And yeah, you're right, they are crumbling forecourt. Cyclone have not been able to find a footing in this game. It's a 4,000 gold lead thereabouts starting to stack up. PT Lamb going down this Thoroughblade into Poison Shiv. It's a little bit interesting of a combination. I assume a Breaking Point would be next for him. Just trying to sustain some damage, apply the Mortal Wounds to I'm the Doom, try and cut down his healing, but it's not even I'm the Doom that's the problem. Tricky is almost there with his full damage, and another gold miner going the way of Team Secret, 150 gold each for everyone. It's so much ahead of Cyclone.
Yeah, 3,000, 4,000, somewhere in that mark, depending on where the creep waves all end up here. And, looking at a third item here for Tricky, it's just, you have a very big timer, and it's in the front of your mind when you're going up against the Baron. It's like, gotta win early, gotta push, gotta make sure that these guys don't get ahead. But unfortunately, the Team Secret has even just, as you said, accelerated the farm, and now Tricky is just becoming more and more online as that beast of burden that Cyclone have to kind of bear at this point.
And this is 2.3. Oh wow, that was a huge crit onto PT Lamb from the melee. But now it's going to be a fight breaking out. Finally, we're getting a fight, but it doesn't look like it's going the way. Huge forced accord pulls everyone in. Quibble locks down PT Lamb. That's going to be 2 kills going over to Team Secret. And Red Option just trying to run away from Tricky's Baron, but the Bone Cruncher Rare Skin Finn finds the Quibble. And that's going to be ace for Team Secret at 10 minutes. A perfect game for them so far. A 2.3 Baron. We haven't even hit this 2.4 Baron, which feels so strong for court. But man, Team Secret are looking deadly, pushing into the base at only 10 minutes.
Tricky getting that overdrive on top of his B, as you really should. Because we've seen some overdriven Porcupine builds just really go awry. And Radha,
Oh, what are you doing, Radha? That is brave. He's going to get deleted. That's just Tricky laying down the damage straight onto PT Lamb, looking for the pain. They are going to turn face towards Red Option. It's worth noting that Tricky has enough gold to be full damage build at 10.5 minutes. He hasn't quite made it to the shop yet. So he hasn't completed it, but we are going to see Cyclone looking to try and punish this Sentry still. Oh no, PT Lamb caught in the Quibble. Red Option trying to get away, as is PT Lamb. It looks like they will be able to escape. Wow, very insane stuff from Team Secret to be able to kite on up. Tricky will finish his monocle at 11 minutes. Had it at 10, but he just didn't quite. It took a minute to get to the shot forecourt.
Yeah.
Wow, pretty insane stuff from Team Secret.
They're also getting just really kind of bumped upon there by Cyclone as well. Radha thought he found something. Instant regret goes down, lose out the Crystal Sentry. On top of things, it feels like after a fight like this, you should be going for a Kraken, but it's just not that kind of the game. It's before 12 minutes, 3 items on a weapon carry. Justman, 3 items on his captain role as he's finished off into the ward trades. If you thought it was hard to catch these guys, it's going to be harder now. And I'm the Doom is not doing so bad himself here either, Dowsy. Like 2.5 items, he has himself that reflex on top of it. Like Aegis to come through, his last item there could even just be a Shatter Glass at that point. Or it could even be that Broken Myth. Like, the world is their oyster.
World is their oyster, and another Ion Cannon going to crush on down. Radha onto Tricky, trying to lay down the damage, but his team just haven't been able to get through this big tanky Tief line, and that's going to be another damage coming through it. Oh gosh, something just destroying here as Tricky going to look for Redaption. Oblivion catches PT Lamb, puts him to sleep, and he's going to be in so much trouble. Tricky comes around the corner and crits him. Destroyed, a double, an ace. Crystal Sentry loses its second life, and Team Secret going to look to try and push the base, look to see what they can get. 10 seconds on these death timers won't be much. Perhaps they won't even attempt it at this 12-minute mark, but wow, just 9-0, and Cyclone have been completely shut out.
If you win the fight in their base, you could probably make an attempt to do it, but just the travel time to get into the Cyclone base, they would have been back up. So again, like, this is where you go take the Kraken, but it's just not there. Dowsy, 13 minutes, and this comp just doing so many wonders for Team Secret so early on. And there's going to be a problem. Like, Cyclone, if they want to look for these engagers, they got to be very quick, decisive, get that kill, because the longer the fight goes on, the more that Justman will shine, the more that Tricky will shine, because the defensive properties of that Finn is going to far outweigh that of Redaption. Like, there's no cooldown reduction on this Captain Glaive, so those afterburns are going to be few and far between. He does have a Crucible. Unfortunately, that's about all that he can offer. I mean, there's not even an Atlas on these guys for Tricky.
I think Tricky's 300 gold away from hitting his 4th damage item as
That's
well.
disgusting.
If I can remember my mathematics. 14 minutes, 4 damage items on a Baron. Yeah, why not? Why not? Seems legit to me. And he is going to make his way up to the shop. Look to finish this one off, I think. Perhaps I'm wrong. Doesn't go for it just yet. But wow, so much gold, so much damage. And Cyclone just kind of stuck on the outline of this one. Kind of just twiddling their thumbs. Yeah, I was right, 1800. Perfect. So that is a 14-minute 4 damage build for Tricky's Baron.
Feels good to be Tricky right now. I mean, game number 3, a lot on the line. If they do want to continue to defend that second place, even bump into first place position, this is exactly what Team Secret need to do. They need to win. They need to show no weakness. They need to be very decisive. And all that is showing right here. Like, Justman on this Finn. Maybe the rare Finn skin is the good luck charm. Whoa!
Huge pull in. Everyone's on the back line, and it's just chaos everywhere as Radha PT Lamb taking so much damage. The damage from Tricky is critting. It's doing so much work. Radha dives back in, but Tricky's been deleted. Cyclone looking to turn this fight. Perhaps they were too keen for this one. Team Secret. Justman is going to fall very low, but everyone on Cyclone is flashing red, and I'm the Doom is full HP. He's looking for his 1v3. A double kill. Can he find Radha? Doesn't look like he will be able to, so not quite going to get the highlight play. But wow, what a crazy fight coming out of both these teams.
Just because you can get a 3-man quibble, maybe you shouldn't, like, get the 3-man.
He didn't even get the 3-man quibble.
Yeah, you're right. I meant to say the forced accord. Yeah. But it's just, it was a good start, but unfortunately the follow-up was a little bit lacking right there. And now that they've closed the gap all on top of Tricky, it was do or die time right there for Cyclone. So yes, they get the kill on Tricky. Yes, they get it on Justman, but I'm the Doom is just that third factor. Tricky, I think, is overshadowing him, but I'm the Doom is 3 items as well. 14 minutes on a Crystal jungle carry. That is no joke, and you saw the level of damage he was able to return.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Dangerous games, though. Cyclone have shown that they can... 400 crit, that's going to be Radha going down. Redaption put to sleep, and there's nowhere for him to go but to his base, the quickest route possible with that crit coming out of Tricky. You know what? The last time we saw Tricky, it was off the back of some interesting drama forecourt. It almost feels like Tricky has something to say about his performance. Currently, 6-1-5 on this Baron, has hyper carried it with the help of his team, and a Kraken now unleashed. Cyclone on their last ropes.
All right, yeah, do or die time is something I tend to say a lot, but it's also just a very effective way to say that if you don't defend, you're out. Like 2 turrets, it's only 16 minutes in, but the overwhelming firepower coming down here from Team Secret is just really that of a game-ending situation. Like one misstep here from Cyclone, and they're relegated this whole week, this last week to get points.
Well, it is going to be another fight breaking out. Red Option taking a lot of beating. Tricky just dives right over. Oblivion puts the distance, and now Tricky can just clean up the fight.
Well.
Looking for Red Option, he dives forward. 2 auto attacks and a double. And PT Lamb, no way he escapes this. Will they give the triple to Tricky? No, they just finish it. Nice and clean. An accidental pause, I would have to think. Coming out here accidentally by one of...
How do you accidentally pause?
Oh, it's on the scoreboard. I've done it before after a game. You sometimes accidentally click it. But it is going to be this Game 3 coming out here for Team Secret. A very dominating win from them, putting doubts to sleep as they progress to Day 2's games and keep their chance of a top place, first place position in the Dream Tank.
That's just really fantastic news for Team Secret. But Cyclone, you know, the lack of Waldemar perhaps running a little bit into this one. Like Tasty Bacon was saying that Cyclone just kind of not really running consistent lineups, like the starting lineups, right? When I think Cyclone, I think Waldemar. I think all the way back to Split 1, I think of that weapon Jewel just really setting a lot of pace. And you know, I'm not entirely too sure where he is today, but at the same time, getting everybody else here together, it's a far cry from how they started off everything. And that glaive, I just feel like did not do them any favors this entire weekend.
And the good news for Cyclone is that they have qualified for the Spring Live Champions for Europe. There's no way that any of the bottom 3 teams can overtake them, so they will go into the Spring Live Championships as 5th place. The interesting thing for Team Secret is that this is likely the roster we'll see at Spring Live Championships, as there's always been issues with I'm the Doom traveling. So it's great to see that they've made this composition work of Tricky back in the carry position and I'm the Doom coming into the jungle. Really just buffing up Team Secret. Impressive games from them today, but we'll throw it back over to the desk to break down the series before heading deeper into Europe.
Well, there you have it. Team Secret taking it 2-1 in the end. A much different tale that game versus the first 2. Things definitely turned around. Team Secret really coming online. I mean, the first point here that we really need to get to, Cyclone just really was not playing that well in the early game, and they had this early game comp, right? And they were just giving up turrets early.
Yeah,
what was going on?
It was bizarre. Like, this is an early game composition. You have to be looking for opportunities. You have to be